Howdy, even in 2026, it's still surprisingly common to see a book banned. Even today, many books are systematically removed from school libraries.
We both agreed to ban just one book. Yours.
Which strikes me as odd because it's a well-known reality. The best way to get a kid to read a book is to tell them, "You're not allowed to read this." And the same goes for adults. That curiosity is a very human trait. Some of the most untouched sites of native tribes are kept safe simply by not drawing attention to them. Tell people they can't go on them and they become a tourist hotspot. Well, let's take a look at the most banned books in 2026. Perhaps in simply acknowledging these books, we can help restrict attempts to control education and public narratives. Or not. Well, we could at least have some fun. And obviously, there'll be some discussion of some more serious, sensitive topics. But as always, I'll do my best to handle these subjects with respect and care. That all said, let's begin. Crank by Ellen Hopkins. The title is literally an alternative term for crystal Tina. Ellen Hopkins produces a lot of banned books, like Tricks, which we discussed last time, but Crank may just be her most banned book of all. The book Crank is about a middle school girl who gets hooked on crystal Tina. In middle school, the whole book is written in poems. We had a similar situation with Tricks, and it honestly makes it a more interesting read, though I'm definitely not going to argue this is a well-written young adult series. A bit like 50 Shades, I found it fascinating, but also kinda badly written. And no shade on Miss Hopkins, it was her first book, which she wrote as a reflection on her daughter's drug addiction at the time. Either way, the book is frequently removed from school libraries, and has been one of the most banned books of all time for the last 22 years. But according to the author, she's had many people tell her that her book helped them turn away from drugs. In fact, the book Crank has actually become a required reading in some drug rehabilitation court programs. Isn't that crazy? Well, I don't know if it's crazy, but it's interesting. 19 minutes. According to PEN America, this was the #1 most frequently banned book in 2024. It's been banned 98 times since then, and it's still frequently banned today, such as in Utah in 2026. The author Jodi even stated that she's been banned in 35 American states and school districts. Written in 2007, this book is about a school disaster where a student discharges a firearm. And according to sources, this gun disaster is not the reason it was banned. No, the reason it was banned is due largely to page 313, which describes sensual content, specifically pitching a tent. Yep, that's it. Not the horrors and terrors of a school lockdown situation where a student has a firearm. No. Not the non-consensual assault and relentless bullying scenes. No, that kid had an involuntary physical reaction. Ban that. And shocker, this highly banned book was a #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. 19 Minutes is the 14th novel by the author Jodi, but it's the very first book she's had as a #1 seller. I'm almost starting to think that banning a book drives huge amount of attention towards that book and makes it more popular. The story's set in the state of New Hampshire. At first, it follows the routine day of students in classes, the gyms, the cafeteria and such. But then, a loud bang is heard. This is followed by the sound of gunshots. A detective is on the scene to arrest the gunman found in the locker room, but there is death and gore in the process. The book flashes back and forth between events before and after the school disaster. The criminal is a high school student named Peter, and we learn how events led to 10 lives being lost after Peter's psychotic breakdown. The story why can obviously never justify the horrible gun disaster, but they can paint us a very vivid, distressing picture of why a student would ever be compelled to that decision. Even just reading about the book had me looking up articles about post-traumatic stress disorder and battered person syndrome. The book poses the question, if battered person syndrome can be the defense in court for, say, domestic violence, can there similarly be a bullied child syndrome? But my point is, even if 19 Minutes is not a pleasant read, maybe not every book has to be a pleasant read. This band's story made me think. It made lots of people think. And perhaps I walk away from 19 Minutes a slightly wiser person. Slightly. Next up, we have All Boys Aren't Blue. This has been among the most frequently banned books all throughout the 2020s. And as of 2026, it remains banned in at least 15 states. Is it a deeply violent and cruel book that tries to push the limits of human decency? I think you know it's not. It's a memoirs of journalist George Johnson growing up in New Jersey, and the challenges he faced as a queer African American. George even writes at the start of the book that he wanted to be as authentic and truthful about his experience as possible. The good, the bad, and the things he was too afraid to talk about publicly. He even warns that the book will touch upon child assault, homophobia, and racism. They may be graphic, but sadly, they're experiences many reading this book may have already encountered. And Rachel from Reads with Rachel indeed identified with some of these traumas. She openly states in her video that she was also assaulted as a minor by someone who was an adult, and many of the parts of this book were real things she could identify with growing up. It was a book that resonated with her. But even when she was sharing All Boys Aren't Blue among her book club, she found that there were some people who really hated this book. At first, I thought the pushback was just from ultra-conservative lobbying groups. But in an average example here, this fellow on Reddit got a lot of pushback and accusations from just regular Joes on Reddit for giving the unpopular opinion that he thinks it's okay for this book to be in public schools. So was there a particular page that got this book banned? Well, obviously, there are some people that are going to lose their minds over any discussion of real human beings that are in the LGBTQ+ community. But the two chapters that are most complained about tend to be chapters 11 and 15. Chapter 11 is about George's experience of assault as a minor, and Chapter 15 is about George's first gay physical experience in college. As Rachel mentioned, book banners like to isolate passages of this book to try and shock people into agreeing with them about banning it. This geezer with the heavy Texan accent isolated the passage discussing George's terrible experience in Chapter 11. Yes, amazingly, a discussion about the pain someone went through during an assault is uncomfortable to read. I feel like most books have uncomfortable moments. But a book being uncomfortable doesn't necessarily make it harmful. Because you know what? I remember reading Kababe's banned book Genderqueer, and although I certainly found it very uncomfortable at times, to this day, I still better empathize with the pain of a young non-binary person who has to face these traumas because I read the uncomfortable parts. And frankly, the written experiences of children should not be deemed inappropriate for children. There's also some downright strong perspective-shifting looks at emancipation figures like Abraham Lincoln, which taught me things I would never have learnt about him otherwise. He said things about slavery, I was just, you're kidding. Honest Abe said that? Obviously, All Boys Aren't Blue isn't aimed at every young person, but neither is Captain Underpants. But if the person doesn't like it, they can always just, put the book down. Then make sure to congratulate that person for reading a book. If you got them to put their phones down for 5 minutes, then that alone is cause for praise. 13 Reasons Why. From late 2025 to early 2026, Utah quietly banned this book from all school libraries and curriculums nationwide. The reasons why? Well, Utah didn't give us 13 reasons, but the main reason they stated was the book contains quote-unquote sensitive material. So it's been added to what is now known as Utah's no-read list. This is actually the 19th book Utah has banned. Well, Utah, why don't you just burn them all in one big public book burning event? I bet that'll impress the educators.
Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts. Right.
And why are they banning it now? The book itself is a 2007 young adult novel. In the book, we learn the story of Hannah Baker, who was in her second year of high school, and through the perspective of her classmate, we learn those 13 reasons are why she, self-deleted. Pardon me, YouTube censors are automated now. 2 weeks later, Hannah organized to have 7 cassette tapes mailed out.
It's me. Live and in stereo.
Each one is narrated by Hannah herself, and she explains the 13 people and events that she blames for her end.
I'm not angry you betrayed me. I'm angry that I trusted you in the first place.
Her classmate, who we hear the story from, is the 9th person to receive these tapes. And, well, despite this book being the 3rd most banned book in the United States throughout all of the 2010s, banning this book has been comically ineffective. In 2014, 13 Reasons Why was a New York bestseller for over 3 years. And you know your book banning has backfired when a banned book gets so popular it's made into a Netflix series. 13 Reasons Why became the second most watched Netflix series in 2017, with 4 seasons. And you're probably going to notice this backfiring happens a lot with these banned books. The main reason states like Florida, Texas, and Utah like to ban this book is due to its themes of teen self-harm, violence, and alcohol use. It's apparently so banned in Utah that a child can't even carry the book onto school campus for personal reading. What strikes me about this book is I think it could open up some important conversations for kids to have with their parents or teachers about personal struggles, about mental health. The National Library of Medicine found that nearly a quarter of all US adults have a mental health issue, and nearly 1 in 10 Americans have had at least one depressive episode. Perhaps by reading about someone like Hannah who went through this, and the people around her's experience, kids and adults can ask themselves, have I ever felt this way? If not, great, fantastic. But if they have, they know someone else has felt this way before, and they are not alone. The book wasn't even trying to be edgy. It comes from an earnest place, as the author Jay based off their close relatives' real experience with depression. After nearly 20 years, for all the flailing of arms and angry lobby groups, this is a story that has been heard by many people. So I have no idea why Utah suddenly decided to knuckle down and ban this book in 2026. And just a quick side note, I just reviewed the SpongeBob Season 2 episode I consider among the worst of the season, and it kinda caught me by surprise. I'm currently reviewing SpongeBob Season 2 and 6 on Patreon. The videos are free and you're more than welcome to be a free member if that interests you. But of course, a couple of bucks membership makes a world of difference to me if you decide that would be of interest to you. Either way, you can watch all the free videos in the description. With that said, what banned book awaits us next? Next up is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I keep walking into these banned book videos bracing myself for unquenchably deep depravity levels found only in the likes of 120 Days of Sodom from 1785. And instead I keep coming across these timeless artistic pieces of literature, all with memorable stories and messages to give, with perhaps some ultra-violence and cruelty in tow. A Clockwork Orange is no exception. Yes, it's known for ultra-violence and disturbing assault scenes. And the Stanley Kubrick film adaptation has only added to that reputation. But within that shock is a deeply reflective story that always leaves me thinking. It's an extremely well-known book, as is his movie adaptation. You've probably even seen it referenced in The Simpsons and other popular culture. But even all the way forward in 2025 and 2026, A Clockwork Orange has a solid 23 bans. I still vividly remember the 1971 movie with Malcolm McDowell as a notorious Alex. It was disturbing at times, but it gave me a different perspective on revenge. And when is criminal rehabilitation even possible? And how much space should we actually give to just cold-blooded criminal retribution? The book's story themes actually mirror Spider-Man 3. Yes, I'm serious. In the importance of free will and the right to choose who you want to be.
Whatever comes our way, whatever battle we have raging inside us, we always have a choice.
It's been 55 years since this movie was released, and I can still see that feral stare from Malcolm McDowell every time he's on set. The book itself is a satire of a dystopian future, the 1962 version of a dystopian future. And their first concern then wasn't rising water levels or authoritarian dictators. No, instead it was the violence on the streets. Very understandable for the writer of the book, Anthony, as his wife had a very real criminal act of assault done upon her. And this horrible act helped inspire the main character of this story, Alex. Alex is an intelligent sociopath, a depraved, cruel teenager who terrorizes people, breaking into houses and assaulting people without a shred of guilt. He's even violent to his own gang members. He also has some unusual tastes for an ultra-violent maniac, such as Beethoven music. After a particularly disturbing break and enter we see firsthand, he's eventually caught and thrown in prison, and Alex is subject to an experimental rehabilitation procedure using classical conditioning, which makes him want to vomit whenever he tries to do things he loved, like being violent to others. The prison calls it the Ludovico technique. This is that technique you might have seen in popular culture with the taped open eyes. When I looked at the files of MKUltra years ago, it didn't seem to be that effective in real life. But either way, you might have seen the commenter called Power of Friendship has had Alex strapped to their chair for years now. Anyway, in the story, this classical conditioning strips Alex of his free will, and he becomes a victim of his own past victims. There's been such a ridiculous amount of controversy over both the book and the film for the last half a century, to the point where both the writer and filmmaker Stanley Kubrick tried to distance themselves from the book and films they made. It is safe to say this is among, if not the most controversial book and film of all time. I liked the YouTuber Better Than Food's comment about the book. He said one of the book's biggest controversies is it never actually confronts the brutal violence it continually portrays.
That's the book's biggest fault. It never truly confronts the violence it portrays.
And I definitely get where they're coming from with that. But the book and movie confront so many other questions that I think it has a lot of artistic merit. And within all this controversy aftermath, I'm glad to have experienced the story. The next banned book is The Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel adaptation. A banned book that got so popular it got a TV series. Despite this, even in 2026, The Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel adaptation has been banned statewide in Utah and Florida. Ironically, religious extremists like to ban it due to containing depictions of religious extremism.
May God make me truly worthy.
Maybe the book makes them nervous we're onto them. The concept of the book is certainly disturbing. It's a dystopian book about a patriarchal totalitarian regime where women, known as handmaids, are owned by men for the purposes of having children. According to the Graphic Artists Guild, banners argue that having the book in graphic novel format makes it more accessible to juveniles, exposing them to nudity and violence. Yeah, you just described what the internet's done since 2001. They're also confronted with the issues facing their generation of lower birth rates. My wife Nin actually watched the TV series on the Stan streaming service, and it's based on the same story. So I thought maybe she could tell us about her experience with the story.
It was definitely an uncomfortable story to see. Frankly, it was shocking and disgusting. You'd hate it.
It certainly sounds like I would find it uncomfortable.
It's a dystopian world where many women are treated like property.
Low status hasn't even been issued a woman.
The purpose of these handmaids in the dystopian society is to deal with the declining fertility rates.
So God whipped up a special plague of infertility.
Yeah, and to me that's eerie, because our real world has a rapidly dropping fertility rate too. This is a problem future generations will have to face.
Exactly. I think they're making a follow-up series called The Testaments. I think it's going to be more about the kids and training girls how to be women in their dystopia. Quite frankly, it's fact.
I get that. Though I don't think I'm the best one to judge if there's artistic value to it. In your personal opinion, do you think there was artistic value there?
Absolutely. I enjoyed the production of it even if I found the story uncomfortable. It kept me thinking how things could be, especially if politics went down certain dark paths. But even after watching it, I certainly don't think this story should be banned in any capacity, film or book. It invites critical thinking about living in an authoritarian society.
And the thing is, even if we didn't feel there was artistic value and we actually felt no one should see it, that's our problem, not yours and no one else's. As an individual adult, you get to decide whether you read a book or watch a show. And even if for some stupid reason we did lobby to get it banned, the controversy would just result in it getting more attention and the show would probably get a 7th season.
If there is, I'm not watching it, but others have every right to if they want to.
When researching this, my attention was once again toward how counterproductive this whole banning process is. When the Salt Lake Tribune pointed out these books were being banned in a post, these were the top comments.
All of these books are in my shopping cart. When they are delivered, I'll add them to my library of banned books, all of which my children will read.
Cool new book recommendations, mate. I've heard of The Handmaid's Tale. Fabulous, mate, but terrifying. Need to dig into the other 3, though. Thanks, mate, for the recommendations. Next up, we have Melissa, previously known as George. Scholastic originally titled the book George, but realized they'd made a mistake by titling it with a name that the character does not want to use for herself. So later they renamed it. Melissa is listed as a children's book, but I could see a young adult reading it as well. But if it's listed as a children's book, you can bet that some adults are going to be carefully measuring every word. I started reading it myself, and I could already say by the third page, I really got this book. Even though I'm not personally transgender, I still really connected with Melissa's secretiveness, her inner struggles, her terror of being discovered. What immediately struck me was the same thing as in Kobabe's genderqueer story. If a young person doesn't identify with this, they're just going to put it down. But for the child that does identify with this, I wish there were more books like this when I was a child. When I was a kid, I basically had forums, 2003 Internet, and American Pie. On the front page, the author, Gino, wrote the words, "To you, when you felt different." And if that doesn't connect with at least a few people growing up, I don't know what will. As you could probably guess, the story's about Melissa. She's a 4th grade student who is struggling to be herself in a world where others see her as George. In the book, she shows her mum that she identifies as a woman by switching roles in a stage play of Charlotte's Web. You know, the one where the middle-aged pig was going to be eaten for lunch and the spider took a weird interest in him with weird webs, so, they didn't eat him. And then the middle-aged pig watches the spider die. It was a weird book. In any case, Melissa plays Charlotte the spider, the soon-to-be frog food, but the female soon-to-be frog food. And yep, you can bet your smudged screen this is a frequently banned book. It's among the American Library Association's top 10 most banned books, the #1 most banned book in 2018 and 2019. According to Wikipedia, the book is often challenged for its conflict with quote-unquote traditional family structure. So it isn't a nuclear family from the 1930s, therefore it's bad for kids, I guess? I don't know. Probably the most ridiculous reason I've heard for the banning was, get this.
We should not put books in a child's hand that require discussion.
That has to be among the dumbest sentences I've ever heard. And I lived through the 2020s. They took so much toilet paper. Don't let them read things that mean they want to ask questions. Is this because parents don't want to talk to their kids? I kind of feel like talking is an important part of childhood development. I just don't get it. Even if we do say, okay, don't have any books that require discussion, what terrible discussions could possibly arise from a book about gender identity? Is this like that 1950s Boys Beware short where they were worried the kids would be turned queer if they met other queer people?
A sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious.
It's a contagious sickness. In my personal experience, my friends who are transgender have struggled with their gender since they were very young. For a particularly close friend, their first realization of this was when a Pokemon game allowed them to choose girl instead of boy. They immediately chose girl. Even though they were identifying as a boy at the time, they immediately wanted to choose girl. Anyway, in my opinion, this is a stupid banning. I think when someone does read something they find scary, controversial, or distressing, that should be a chance for them to talk to someone about it. What is it about discussing these very real subjects that scares lobby groups? Pretending something isn't there doesn't make it less real. Perhaps the advice of author of Captain Underpants is best taken for these states. Rather than saying,
That book does not belong in the library.
Just make a simple change.
Because what you read is your choice. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a pleasant day. And thanks of course to my patron bosses and members who keep me making videos here. Now, let's continue the silly tradition of thanking shoutout patrons with personal fortunes from a fortune cookie. Anna Jones, your passion will illuminate your true purpose. Shine brightly. Phoenix Star YT, your inner peace is like Wi-Fi. Connect to it daily for best results. You heard him, Cohen. John Bondi, my friend, your fortune today is discipline is like a diet. Sometimes you just gotta cheat. It's way better cookies. Or Stismic, time for your fortune, my friend. Trust opens doors to new beginnings and brighter paths. Your fortune encourages trust, or Stismic. Angel Angeline, let's see what your fortune is today. Nature's beauty whispers wisdom. Listen and let it guide you. Well, I like that. Glitter Wolf, time for your fortune. Your thoughts shape your reality. cultivate positivity for brighter days. Oh, that sounds straight out of a fortune cookie. Sorry, Glitter Wolf. Free Cat Day. Let's see what your fortune says. Embrace change like a chameleon at a disco. Unexpectedly fabulous. Pixel Puppy, what is your fortune today? Your brain's gym membership is free. Use it wisely and often. Oh, it is too. You don't even have to cancel it when they jack up the prices. Marty738, I've got a fortune for you. Courage is just fear wearing a superhero cape. Go fly. Casey and Dalton, a fortune for each of you. Casey, your family tree is more tangled than a spaghetti noodle. Enjoy it. And for you, Dalton, the fortune cookie says, balance your screen time. Nurture the soul in real moments. As in like appreciating the moment in like meditation or walking or something, I guess. The Furry of Fury, let's see your fortune. Unity blossoms when we celebrate our differences with open hearts. Miss Arceus, your treadmill is plotting a surprise marathon. Better lace up. My favorite yearly marathon is in 2 weeks. We'll both have to get ready. And here's your fortune, Jordan McCann. A positive mindset unlocks endless possibilities on your journey. These are way better than last time. Chandler Amethyst, here is your fortune. Seek the unknown. Every journey shapes your spirit. I like that. Megan Bruns, what's your fortune today? Healing begins when you release the weight of grudges. Oh, isn't that the truth? The Hug Wizard, what's your fortune? Challenges are stepping stones to your greatest achievements. Keep climbing, Hug Wizard. Rayan Graves, your fortune is passion fuels your progress. Let your dreams ignite your journey, Rayan. And for you, Satin Yoshi, here's your fortune. Your voice holds power, Satin Yoshi. Share your story with confidence. And I present to you your fortune cookie, William Johnson. Your family tree has a few extra branches. Call for a fire drill. And Odassin, of course, here's your fortune. Small actions ripple out, creating waves of positive change. Even if it's a small ripple, can't deny that one. Joe Ferry, I'm afraid your fortune sounds very corny, but this is what the cookie says. Love's warmth will guide you to unexpected joys. I'm sorry, Joe. Mewtwo Shadow FNAF Girl, here is your cookie. Journey within. Your true self awaits to be unveiled. So I guess they're saying meditate? I don't know what they're saying there, sorry, Mewtwo. Check it, Omega, here's your fortune. Harmony within leads to peace around. Nurture your inner calm. So I guess take a few deep breaths every day? It's fair advice. Kelly Bisson, my friend, here's your fortune. Stay focused, otherwise you might accidentally become a cat video star. That's probably the most practical one so far, Kelly. And here is your fortune, Neil Speed. Every step forward brings you closer to your true self. I do enjoy those fortune cookies. I'll see you next time.